The space station floated near the edge of the Andor belt, where humans were still new, still strange. Daryl was the only human in the entire galactic mess hall. He was not a soldier, not a pilot. He was a cook, just a cook. But today, something strange was about to happen. It was lunchtime. Alien officers, guards, and workers stood in line, waiting to be served. Daryl moved fast in the kitchen, flipping, cutting, frying. Steam rose from hot pans. Alien noses twitched at the smell, but some made faces. One tall alien girl stepped forward. Her skin was silver blue. Her hair floated like silk in zero gravity. She wore a tight black uniform with golden stripes high rank. Her name was Azrina, daughter of the sector governor. She pointed at the food. "What is this ugly thing?" Daryl looked up and smiled. "That's a sausage, human food." Azrina sniffed it, then laughed loudly. "Sausage? This wrinkled little tube? That's what humans eat?" Her voice echoed through the hall. The other aliens chuckled. Some shook their heads. One muttered, "Primitive species." Daryl stayed calm. He wiped his hands and looked at her. "Try it. One bite. If you don't like it, I'll leave the kitchen." Zarina crossed her arms. "If I do like it?" He smiled. "Then you come back tomorrow and eat another." Gasps filled the room. This was not a cooking challenge. It was a pride match. Zarina leaned close. "You think that thing can beat our royal meals?" "I know it can," Daryl said. She grabbed a fork, stabbed the sausage, raised it slowly. The entire mess hall went silent. Even the humming machines seemed to stop. She took a bite, chewed. Her face did not change. For a moment, Daryl thought he had failed. But then her lips pressed tight. Her eyes blinked fast. She swallowed hard, then slammed the fork down. It's soft on the inside. And that kick at the end. She turned away quickly, as if embarrassed. Daryl said nothing. He watched. The next moment, she turned back, eyes burning. "Tomorrow," she said, "you'll cook again. But this time, you bring your best. I want to feel it in my bones." Then she walked off, hips stiff, head high. The room burst into whispers. Some aliens looked at the sausage like it was dangerous. Others came forward shyly and asked for one. Later that night, while Daryl cleaned the pans, someone watched him from the shadows. A small blue eye peered from the air vent above. It was Zarina. She whispered to herself, "What was that fire in my mouth? Why did I want more?" Daryl, alone in the kitchen, opened a small box from under his counter. Inside were glass jars of red, brown, and yellow powders. Earth spices, his secret. He looked toward the vent. He couldn't see her. But he smiled. Tomorrow she would taste the real thing. And she wouldn't be ready. The next day, the galactic mess hall buzzed with more noise than usual. Aliens from every corner of the station had come early. Some were whispering, some were laughing. Everyone was waiting, and all eyes turned when Zarina entered. She wasn't wearing her normal black and gold uniform. Today, she wore royal colors, deep red and silver. Her high boots clicked on the metal floor. Her long white cape dragged behind her like a wave. She walked up to Daryl's counter, her chin raised high. "Human," she said. "I have a challenge." Daryl was already cooking. The heat from the pan made his forehead shine, but he didn't stop. He flipped a sausage, then finally looked at her. "What kind of challenge?" he asked calmly. "If your food is better than what I've eaten at the royal court." She paused and looked around. "I will kneel before you and call you chef, but if it fails, you leave this station." Gasps again. Plates dropped. Someone even choked. "Deal," Daryl said, without blinking. Zarina smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. She turned and nodded. 4 guards stepped forward and placed a box on the nearby table. Inside it was a glowing dish, steaming with bright blue sauce and golden dust. "This is Zalar Flame, our finest royal meal. I will taste both, one after the other. The better one wins." Daryl didn't speak. He just kept working. The pan sizzled. He opened a small glass jar and dropped red powder into the oil. The smell hit the air like thunder. Spicy, smoky, powerful. Alien noses twitched. Some stepped back. Some leaned closer. "What is that?" A purple-skinned alien whispered. "Earth pepper," Daryl said. Zarina sat at a small table in the middle of the room. She tasted her royal dish first. Her face stayed calm. No surprise there. Then Daryl brought her his sausage. But this wasn't the same one from yesterday. It was darker, juicier. There were tiny herbs on top. He placed it gently on a clean white plate. No forks this time. She picked it up with her bare hands. Slowly, carefully, everyone leaned forward. She took a bite and froze. Her mouth moved slowly, like she was afraid to ruin the flavor. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then her eyes widened and she sucked in a breath. A small sound came out of her throat, half gasp, half moan. Her hands shook. She dropped the half-eaten sausage onto the plate and leaned back in her chair, eyes staring at the ceiling. "This," she whispered. "This has layers." She sat up quickly, face burning. "I feel something in my nose," she said, shocked. "My eyes are wet." "What is this fire?" Daryl stepped forward. "That's heat." "It's not pain. It's passion." The hall broke into stunned silence. Then Zarina stood up. Everyone waited. Was she angry? Was she proud? She stepped forward. Her voice was low. "I mocked it. I mocked you, but this." She dropped to one knee, head bowed. "This changed me, chef." The room exploded in cheers. Even the guards clapped. But behind them, in the shadows, a tall alien with dark armor watched without smiling. He whispered into a small device. "The human's food is too powerful. He must be removed." Back at the table, Zarina looked up at Daryl. "I want to learn," she said. "Teach me, please." Daryl nodded. "But there's one rule." "What?" "No mocking the sausage again." She smiled for the first time. The next morning, the doors to the Galactic mess hall slid open with a hiss. Zarina was already inside, sitting at the cooking counter like a student waiting for class. Her royal cape was gone. She wore a plain gray jumpsuit now, just like the kitchen staff. Daryl didn't say much. He placed a bowl of chopped herbs in front of her and handed her a small knife. "Start with these," he said. She nodded, trying to hide her excitement. Aliens peered through the windows like schoolchildren sneaking a look. Word had spread Zarina, the governor's daughter, was now helping the human cook. Daryl showed her how to slice. "Not too fast, not too thin. Respect the ingredient," he said. "Don't fight it." Zarina copied him, her long fingers a little clumsy. She had never held a kitchen knife before. Royal hands didn't touch food, they gave orders. But here, Daryl gave no special treatment. She was just another pair of hands. Soon, the air was filled with that same powerful smell, the red spice, the sizzling oil, the rich fat of the sausage cooking to perfection. But Daryl wasn't just making sausages today. He had something else. A secret blend, a new recipe. It was darker, thicker. The smell was deeper. Like Earth's forests after rain, mixed with heat from a star. When he cut it open, juices spilled out like gold. He placed one piece on a wooden plate and handed it to Zarina. "Try," he said. She picked it up slowly. Her hands were shaking again. But not from fear, from hunger. She took a bite. And the world stopped. Zarina's eyes fluttered shut. Her lips parted just a little. The bite melted in her mouth like warm butter, then exploded like fireworks. She tasted smoke, heat, salt, and something sweet, something that reminded her of childhood, even though she had never eaten human food before. She opened her eyes. But they weren't the same. They were glowing slightly. Her breath caught in her throat. Her heart thumped faster. Then she laughed. A real, loud, uncontrolled laugh. I can't feel my tongue." She shouted, grinning. "But I don't want it to stop." Aliens behind the glass gasped. One small alien guard whispered, She's glowing. Another muttered. He cooked a weapon. Zarina turned to Daryl, still chewing. What did you do to me? I gave you Earth, he said, smiling. In one bite. Then she sat down fast, too fast, and groaned. Her hands were holding her stomach, but she was laughing. This is pain, but also joy. It hurts, but I want more. What is this feeling? We call it spicy happiness, Daryl said. That night, Zarina didn't leave the kitchen. She stayed late, chopping vegetables, asking questions. She wrote notes. She even cleaned dishes. Once, her hand brushed Daryl's, and she pulled back too quickly. Her cheeks turned a deep purple alien blushing. But outside the kitchen, trouble was brewing. The armored alien who had watched before now walked through the governor's office halls. He stopped in front of a door marked Security Command and entered. Inside, 3 officers turned to him. She's spending too much time with the human, one said. She bows to him. She laughs. She works, said another. She's forgetting who she is. The tall alien raised one hand. Then we remind her. He placed a small explosive packet on the table. Tomorrow, he said, the kitchen burns. Zarina didn't sleep that night. Her stomach burned with a slow fire, and her legs felt heavy like stone. She had eaten too many of Daryl's spicy sausages. 12, maybe 13. She couldn't remember. The taste was too good, too wild, too addicting. But now, she was paying the price. In her private chamber, she tried to sit on her long glass bench, but jumped up with a scream. No, 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 no. She paced the floor, holding her lower back, groaning with every step. Her body was strong, royal-blooded, trained in alien martial arts. But it had never met something like Earth chili powder. She cursed under her breath. That human poisoned me with flavor. The next morning, the station buzzed with excitement. Would Zarina return to the kitchen? Would she face Daryl after what happened? At exactly 0800 hours, the doors of the mess hall opened, and in limped Zarina. Her walk was slow, stiff, and careful. She didn't bend her knees. She didn't dare sit. Her face was serious, but her eyes sparkled with strange energy, like she had been through battle and come back hungry for more. The kitchen staff stared. Daryl raised an eyebrow. You all right? I can't sit down, she whispered. But I'm not leaving. Then she tied an apron around her waist and stepped behind the counter. I want to learn more, Daryl chuckled. Even after what happened? Especially after what happened, she replied. My body regrets it, but my soul craves it. They worked side by side. She chopped faster now. Burned herself once on the pan but didn't scream. She just hissed and kept going. Daryl noticed she no longer wore any rings or jewels. Just kitchen gloves and a focus in her eyes. By noon, they were ready to serve again. This time, the line stretched all the way out the corridor. Aliens of all shapes and sizes waited to try the human fire sticks. Zarina took orders and even smiled at customers. But something felt wrong. Daryl kept glancing toward the storage room. A small metal box was out of place. A strange wire peeked from under a crate. Zarina saw it too. What's that? She whispered. I don't know, Daryl said. But stay back. He moved toward it carefully. Just then, the station lights flickered. A voice came through the intercom, warning, gas levels rising. Kitchen area unstable. Panic started to grow. Staff stepped back. Zarina looked around and shouted, Evacuate the hall now. Daryl grabbed the box and opened it. Inside, a ticking red light. A timed firebomb. His eyes widened. Someone's trying to blow the kitchen. Zarina froze, then stepped forward. Get it to the trash chute. Fast. Daryl didn't wait. He ran, the box held tight, smoke rising behind him. He reached the chute, threw it in, slammed the seal, and hit the emergency purge button. The explosion rocked the station, but only the lower waste tanks were damaged. The mess hall was saved. When Daryl returned, he was covered in ash. Zarina ran to him and helped wipe his face. "You okay?" she asked, her voice soft. "Yeah," he nodded. "Just almost got roasted." The guards arrived minutes later, scanning the area. Daryl turned to them. "Someone planted that bomb. This wasn't an accident." Zarina's face went cold. She knew who it might be. "My father's advisors. They don't like humans. Especially you." She turned to Daryl with new eyes. "They want you gone." Daryl looked around the kitchen. He picked up a sausage, handed it to her, and smiled. "Then we give them a reason to fear me." Zarina took the bite slowly and smiled through the spice. The next day began with silence. Not the good kind. The cold, sharp kind that fills the air before something big happens. Zarina stood in the kitchen early, no smile, no jokes. No glowing spice dreams in her eyes today. Just quiet hands, slicing vegetables with focus and speed. She didn't speak to anyone. Even Daryl noticed the change. "What's wrong?" he asked, flipping sausages behind her. "He's coming," she said without turning. "Who?" "My father," she whispered. "The governor." Daryl paused. He had heard stories. Zarina's father controlled 6 star sectors. He was known for crushing rebellions, burning out pirate fleets, and making rivals disappear without a trace. He had never stepped foot in a kitchen, especially not one run by a human. "When?" Daryl asked. Zarina looked at the station clock. Now. The mess hall doors hissed open, and the air changed. Soldiers in black armor marched in. Their boots hit the floor like thunder. Behind them walked a tall, gold-robed figure with a diamond crest on his chest. His skin shimmered like molten metal. His eyes ice blue and empty. Governor Valcor. Every alien in the hall froze. The governor didn't shout. He didn't raise a weapon. He just walked straight to the counter and looked down at the human who had captured his daughter's attention. "So," he said slowly, "you are the one who made her bow." Daryl didn't flinch. "I cooked food." She liked it. Valcor's lips tightened. She left royal lessons. She stopped attending war training. She now slices onions and scrubs pans. For you. Why? Zarina stepped forward. "Because for the first time, I earned something." Her voice was steady. "I was born with power, Father. But I never knew how to build anything. I mocked him. He didn't fight back. He cooked. He taught. He shared. And I changed." Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the guards raised his weapon slightly. Valcor raised a hand to stop him, then turned to Daryl. "Feed me." The entire hall held its breath. Daryl didn't move fast. He didn't panic. He took out a pan. He lit the fire. He pulled out the last piece of his secret blend, the one he had saved for Peace Day. He cooked in silence. Only the sound of sizzling filled the room. He placed one perfect sausage on a white plate. No fancy decorations. No royal nonsense, just the food. Valcor looked at it with disgust, but he picked it up. He took a bite. Then his eyes widened. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He chewed, slowly. Finally he swallowed. Then he placed the plate down and gave a very long breath. "This," he said quietly, "tastes like war and love, pain and comfort. It is terrible and beautiful." Zarina smiled. Daryl just nodded. Valcor stood tall again. His voice returned to full power. "This flavor should not stay on one station," he declared. "You, human, will cook for the Peace Summit. Delegates from 9 empires will arrive next week." Daryl raised an eyebrow. "Me? Represent Earth?" Valcor smiled for the first time. "Your sausage now represents more than Earth." But as he turned to leave, one of his advisors whispered something in his ear. The governor paused. He looked back at Daryl. "There are those who will try to stop you," he warned. "They fear what you've started." Then he left. Zarina turned to Daryl. Her eyes were proud. But behind her, a shadow moved. The tall armored alien who planted the bomb? He was still watching. 3 days before the Peace Summit, the station lights flickered again. It was small. A blink, But Darryl felt it. Something was wrong. He stood in the empty mess hall, sharpening his knives. The kitchen had never been this clean. The floor sparkled. Spices were labeled and locked. Sausages were packed and frozen in sealed trays. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Zarina entered holding a box of herbs. "You didn't sleep again," she said, placing the box down. "You're worried." Darryl nodded. "We've had 2 food thefts this week, 1 broken freezer. Someone's watching." Zarina looked around the room. "Father promised protection, but I don't trust his advisors." Darryl opened the spice cabinet, stopped. The jars were empty. Every jar, gone. "What the hell?" he whispered. He ran to the freezer. Bags of sausage missing. The emergency meat locker unplugged. The smell of rot hit his nose like a punch. Zarina cursed in her alien tongue. "This is sabotage." Darryl checked the security feed. Black screen. "All files from last night erased," he said. Zarina grabbed a knife. "I'll hunt whoever did this." But Darryl stopped her. "No. If we fight, we lose. They want us to panic. Let's stay calm. We still have time." He walked back to the counter, opened his bag, and pulled out a tiny sealed glass box. Zarina looked at it. "What is that?" He opened it slowly. Inside, red dust, golden powder, and black flakes. "My grandmother's emergency spice blend," he said softly. "Earth flavor. Saved for something big." Zarina stared. "You kept that all this time?" He nodded. "Now's the time." They got to work, but it wasn't easy. The oven sparked. The lights dimmed. 2 power lines stopped working. Someone was still trying to break them from the shadows. And then it happened. A pipe burst. Hot steam filled the kitchen. Zarina screamed. A wave of fire burst from a side pipe and knocked over a tray of boiling oil. It hit Darryl's arm. He dropped the pan. He fell, groaning in pain. His skin sizzled. Zarina rushed to him. No, stay awake." Darryl blinked slowly. Arms burned. "Can't cook with one hand." She looked around, desperate, then grabbed the pan. "I'll finish it." Darryl tried to sit up. "You've never cooked a full dish alone." Zarina looked him in the eyes. "Then watch me learn." She tied her sleeves, covered her arms, and grabbed the spatula. Her movements were clumsy at first, but she remembered everything he taught her. Oil first. Low flame. Sear both sides. Spice at the end, not the start. Darryl guided her with quiet whispers. The smoke cleared. The station fans kicked in. The first batch of sausages sizzled to life again. And then the door opened. It wasn't a guard. It was the tall, armored alien, the one from the shadows. He stepped inside slowly, clapping. "Well done," he said coldly. "I failed to break you." Zarina grabbed a knife. Darryl stood, despite the pain. "Why? You embarrassed her. You changed her," the alien sneered. "She used to fear no one. Now she sweats in a kitchen for a dirty human." Zarina's voice cracked with power. "He didn't change me. He showed me who I already was." The alien pulled out a blade. But the doors burst open again, this time with a squad of royal guards. "Stand down!" One shouted. "You are under arrest for sabotage." The armored alien tried to fight, but Zarina moved fast. She flipped a pan of hot oil into his face. He screamed. The guards tackled him. It was over. Zarina turned to Darryl. "I think I passed your test," she said, wiping oil from her cheek. Darryl smiled, arm still shaking. "You didn't just pass. You graduated." The sausages kept sizzling. Outside, ships were already landing for the summit. The final meal was almost ready. The day of the peace summit arrived. 9 empires. 12 species. 1 mess hall. The station had never been this full. Ships docked from every direction. Red banners, golden flags, and silver symbols floated in zero-gravity corridors. Alien leaders walked side by side, but with cold eyes and tight fists. There was no trust, not yet, but they all came for one thing, the meal. And the human who cooked it. Daryl stood in the kitchen with a bandaged arm. The skin was burned, but his hand still moved. Slow, steady, sure. Zarina stood beside him, her apron clean, her blade sharp, her eyes calm. "This isn't just food anymore," she whispered. "I know," Daryl replied. "It's peace in every bite." Inside the dining chamber, long tables were set. Silver plates. Floating cups. Translation spheres hovered above each guest. Governor Valcor stood at the front. "My people," he spoke loudly. "For centuries we fought, shouted, killed. But today, we taste something new." He gestured toward the doors. Daryl and Zarina entered holding the first trays. Rows of sausages perfectly grilled, spiced just right, glowing gently with alien herbs and earth oils. Beside them were small bowls of purple sauce, green salad, and steamed starch. The leaders stared. One delegate from the Carthan Empire sniffed and frowned. "A human made this?" Daryl nodded. "Try one bite. That's all I ask." The room went silent. No one moved. Then Zarina stepped forward. She picked up a sausage, bit into it, and smiled. A soft, genuine smile. "I mocked this once," she said to the room. "Now I would fight for it." One by one, others followed. A blue-skinned commander took a bite. His eyes rolled back. A plant-based diplomat chewed slowly, then started crying sap. Even the cold-blooded Raxor ambassador, known for his taste for live prey, said, "This is strange, but beautiful." Then the Carthan delegate stood. "This meal," he said, holding the last bite, "tastes like my childhood, and my enemies too. We are not so different." He looked at Daryl. "If a human can create peace through food, then maybe we can stop this war." The room began to clap, slow at first, then stronger, then louder. Voices from every corner joined. Cheers in every language. Peace had never been signed with ink, but today it was signed with flavor. Governor Valcor raised his cup. "To the chef," everyone echoed. "To the chef." Daryl stood still, eyes wide, then smiled, rubbing the back of his neck. He leaned toward Zarina. "That was insane," she laughed. "You made history with meat." But just then Valcor approached them. He held out a small silver badge. "You are now Galactic Honor Cook, first human ever. My ships will carry your recipes across every sector." Daryl accepted the badge, but Zarina reached into her pocket, pulled out a tiny jar. Inside was earth spice. She held it up. "I'll carry this too, wherever I go." Then she looked at him. "Daryl, will you teach more? To others? To me?" He smiled. "Only if you promise not to cry again when it's too spicy." She elbowed him gently. "I make no promises." The station lights dimmed, and soft music began to play. Delegates danced, enemies laughed, old rivals toasted. All because of one man, one meal, and one alien girl who couldn't sit down the first time she tried it.